Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 12, Episode 4. Let's get right into it. So, this review, I will not be going in chronological order for this review, right? Because, not much happened this episode, but it was entertaining. Like, I'm not disappointed in this episode at all. This is going to be another review where I'm all over the place. I apologize, because I'm not going in chronological order. First off, I want to start off with Lisa Rinna. As you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of hers, but, you know, I haven't really been keeping up with the news when it comes to the housewives, so I don't know how her mother is doing. Hopefully her mother is still alive and doing well. I hope so. And if no, we're just gonna leave it there. I hope she is still alive and doing well. And my well wishes goes out to Lisa Rinna as she is dealing with her mom and her illness. It's really sad, so yeah, let's just move on, okay? Let's just move on. Let's start off with Crystal, okay? Crystal. I really, 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 really wanted to kind of root for her. My last review, at first I didn't get what she was saying, but I explored it a little bit and I was like, okay, maybe I know where Crystal is coming from. But this episode, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, Crystal, just when I thought I understood you, you just threw me for a loop. And maybe by the end of this review, I will have a greater understanding of Crystal and what's going on in her head. You know what I mean? Okay. Okay. Let me take a breather. Okay. So, they're still in who knows where. Because, like I said, I'm not American. They're still in who knows where, right? And Crystal calls Garcelle. All the ladies are there and they're talking about Crystal and what happened the night before because they were kind of confused as to why Crystal was bringing up the situation with Sutton now. Like, it was kind of weird for them. And then Crystal ended up calling Garcelle, and Garcelle convinced her to come over and speak to the other ladies to clear the air. Right? And I actually got a little bit more clarity from Crystal, right? When she was like, you guys were so focused on the word violate that you guys totally dismissed my feelings and why I was upset. And Crystal is 100% right about it. She's 100% right. Because the conversation did become, oh, well, violation, that's such a strong word. That's not appropriate. That's not this. That's not that. Right? Instead of focusing on how Crystal felt in that moment. Instead of like hearing her out and maybe hearing her speak on why she was triggered to that extent. You know what I mean? And kind of like relating to her and empathizing with her instead of trying to tell her that she was wrong for feeling the way that she did, or just focusing on like a minute sort of detail, right? And it's one thing if you kind of listen, at the end of the day, you can say what you want to say. So if you feel like, or you think that violation or violate is a strong word, you can communicate that. But then it's like at some point you have to move past the word and actually speak on what happened exactly, and actually speak on why she was so upset. And like, if you guys are friends, I don't know about that. They're more like coworkers. But if like these are your friends, right? Even if you feel like you're not in the wrong with your friend or you didn't do anything, if your friend is upset, you should at least want to sit down and hear them out. And I don't think they did that for Crystal. And that's why Crystal is so upset, or that's why she was holding on to it. You know what I mean? But then, and I get that when it comes to your friends, but then there's another part of me. I'm sorry, I'm going to break the fourth wall. Or is it the third wall? I'm going to break down some damn wall. It's kind of, I'm going to break down the wall and just say that Crystal, it was a new cast member. I mean, who introduced Crystal to the group? Was it Lisa Rinna? Right, I don't know. It didn't seem like Crystal really had, I think it was Kathy Hilton. I don't know. But it didn't come off like Crystal was friends with these ladies before the show. Can we just be real? So I don't know. Is it kind of unfair to expect people that you don't really know to be that invested in what's going on with you emotionally? You know, it sounds terrible to say, but maybe it's kind of on you to get the story out and communicate what you need to communicate, because they don't know you like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, is that a kind of an unrealistic expectation from them? I don't know. I could be wrong on that one, but like I said, I get why Crystal was upset, and her pointing out them focusing on the word actually really gave me further clarity. So yeah, when Crystal was explaining it, I was like, okay, yeah, Crystal, okay, fine. And then, of course, the whole thing goes left just when you think we're gonna get some resolution and we're gonna move on. Garcelle, messy Garcelle. Garcelle is here for her paycheck, okay? Like, Garcelle is bringing it. And I don't understand why Garcelle had to say this, especially since Sutton wasn't present for this conversation. And Garcelle wasn't even present in the conversation between last season between Kyle, Sutton, and Crystal. Garcelle wasn't even there. So I don't know why Garcelle brought up, oh, well, I felt like you were setting Sutton up. Like, it didn't matter what she said, what she would have said. You would have been like, oh, are you that girl? And it's like, Garcelle, you weren't even there. You weren't even privy to the conversation. So how can you tell? From what we've seen of, like, listen, I'm assuming she watched the episode just like us, okay? And I just don't know how Garcelle got that. Okay? And like, okay, can we just be real again? The whole I don't see color, that is a trope. That is like a cliche thing that you kind of, at this point in time, I think everybody knows not to kind of say that, okay? Like, let's just be real. Let's not pretend. Yes, in the ideal world, right, it wouldn't matter, right? And maybe for you in your personal experience, you don't see color, but like, we can't deny or ignore the fact that people are discriminated against for the color of their skin, for their sexuality, for the language they speak, like, for so many different reasons. Like, we are all different, right? We are all the same, and we are all different at the same time. There's lots of diversity in this world, and that's what makes life absolutely amazing, right? Just like we have different types of food, different types of flowers, right? Different types of, I don't know, anything you can think. We have different types of pencils, different types of phones. I don't know where I'm going with this, but there are differences. So to kind of pretend and like, I don't see color, I mean, that's not the world, right? And seeing differences and seeing colors is not a bad thing. That's what makes the world beautiful, right? That's why you have like roses and lilacs and lilies and sunflowers, and don't let me stop because I'm gonna be running out of flowers to name. Lavender, right? It's all about diversity, and that's how we strive and, move forward in life and get better. So it's kind of silly to kind of pretend that you don't see these things, because they're here. And that's okay. It's not a bad thing at all. Right? So, sorry, that was like, let me get off my soapbox. So, I don't know. From watching that clip last season, I think Crystal just had a normal reaction to something that like has been said before, has been called out. I don't feel like Crystal was trying to set Sutton up. I think Sutton set herself up, if I'm gonna be real. So I don't understand why Garcelle would insert herself in a situation that she wasn't even privy to. I think, I mean, Garcelle is here for a check. That's it. That's what I think that's what I think it was. Like, she wanted a moment, and that's kind of her moment. And, like, I'm not going to be mad because it's like, it makes it entertaining for us. It doesn't make sense, but it makes things entertaining, you know? And, like, Garcelle wants to call Kyle out for stirring the pot, which Garcelle isn't wrong. Kyle 1000% stirs the pot, but Garcelle, I'm sorry, you're there too, over the pot stirring. You and Kyle are both, brouhahaing, over the pot. So it's like, Garcelle, come on now. And is it just me? Speaking of Kyle, why is Kyle always smirking? Like, every time there's drama or beef going down, like, Kyle's there, like, with a little smile on her face, like a little evil producer kind of smile, like, yes, like, she's internally rubbing her hands together and, like, drama. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I'm, like, a nervous smiler myself, but, like, I'm not a smirker. No, she wasn't smiling. She was smirking. Is it just me? Comment down below. Have you noticed Kyle's always smirking when it comes to the ladies getting into it? But yeah, whatever. Right? So, I guess, Garcelle was being messy, as I was saying, and then, of course, Crystal, she took the bait. Well, to be fair, I'm not gonna put that on Garcelle. I don't know what Crystal was doing. Well, I guess Crystal was trying to defend herself by saying, I wasn't setting Sutton up. Sutton said messed up stuff in that conversation, or Crystal's words were, she says some dark stuff in that conversation, and that's why I said what I said. Right? And I don't even, like, you could say, okay, maybe Bravo edited some shit out, but, like, from what we've seen, okay, I totally understand why Crystal had the reaction that she had, right? And at the end of the day, like, do I believe that Sutton said some messed up shit that Bravo didn't air? I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, like, have you seen Sutton and how Sutton moves? And, she kind of puts her foot in her mouth a lot. So, could there have been worse things that Sutton said? Sure. Like, it's 100% believable, right? And is it also 100% believable that Sutton could have said something, right? But to Kyle, who was also present for the conversation, it may have not registered to her as something really, really bad. You know what I mean? Like, and let's just take race out of it. I think if you don't have certain experiences in life and you're ignorant to certain things, you may not be able to kind of catch when someone is maybe saying something that is offensive to somebody else, right? Where if someone else has I'm trying to speak so vague that I'm confusing myself. But if someone else has certain experiences in life, they are going to be able to, like, read or see certain things that someone who hasn't had those experiences wouldn't really recognize. So that being said, like, Kyle and Sutton are both, like, privilege. Okay, I think, like, Kyle, like, she at least grew up, like, upper middle class. I mean, she was a child star too on top of that, and I think Sutton also grew up kind of like upper middle class as well. So it's like, you may have had a certain lifestyle, and yeah, I think just because Kyle didn't recognize it doesn't like invalidate what Crystal experienced, okay? Let me just say that. My problem with Crystal at this point, if you're going to bring it up, if you're going to say it, say it. You know what I mean? Don't just say, "Oh, well, she said something really dark." And like those are, and she's like, "Oh, dark, that's not a strong word. It's a short word." And da da da. No, like come on, Crystal. Like especially when it comes to race, like you know what it is. You know what it is. You know that you're basically implying that she said something really really bad, right? And you can't do that. You have to say what it is. You have to say what it is. Or if you're not going to say what it is, do not bring it up. And I do agree with Garcelle because Garcelle is a black lady. And if Sutton is like really racist, I understand why Garcelle wouldn't want to be her friend. Or, because Garcelle is looking at Sutton like, well, what did she say? What did she do? Like, if I was in Garcelle's position, I would feel the exact same way, especially because Sutton and Garcelle have formulated a very close bond, it seems like. And like you don't want to be best buds with somebody that is like racist. Like you don't so it's like you're putting everybody in a weird position when you just allude to something and you don't give the full details. So I wasn't really feeling Crystal when it came. I don't know what. I think Crystal kind of feels like, I don't know. I guess she was just trying to like validate her response and da 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 da. And I get that. And I'm not saying she's wrong. She's wrong for doing that. But like I said, if you're gonna bring it up, you might as well just say what it is. So fast forward to Sutton's, I guess, I don't know what the event was for, but like, I guess, Sutton has her boutique, and I guess she brought in some French designer, and she decided to have an event. I don't know what the event is for. Let me just be real. Okay? And, all the ladies show up except Erica, right? And Erica's like, "Oh, well, she sent it in a group text, but I'm not going to be fake," and da 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 da. And like, let's just be like, can we be real here? Like, Sutton doesn't give an F about you, Erica, one way or another. So like, trust and believe that Sutton was probably relieved that Erica didn't show up. Moving on. So at this event, basically Garcelle and Kyle, they call out Crystal, and they also inform Sutton as to what Crystal said. And they were all like, Dorita as well, they were all like, you can't say something like that and not clarify. But Sutton wants to move forward. She's not here for it. And I think it was Kyle that said in her confessionals that maybe Sutton feels like she said something really, really bad. Or she said something that would, like, it's going to get her dragged by social media, the audience, and whatever. And she kind of just doesn't want to go back there. She doesn't want to deal with it. She kind of just wants to brush past it and move on, right? And I get Sutton's response, like, okay, we've been there, done that. Let's just not even bother to talk about this. But I also agree with Kyle. Like, if someone is saying you said something really dark and messed up, it's kind of like, I think it has to be addressed, because then everybody is just going to be speculating as to what you said. So you might, listen, at the end of the day, you said what you said. It is what it is. So you have to take accountability, responsibility, and whatever. So if it was messed up, it was messed up. But it's better to deal with it, right? It's better to deal with the facts than to kind of just leave it, I don't know, to kind of just leave it kind of open-ended like that, because then anybody can insert whatever narrative that they want. So yeah, the preview and the sorry, in the previews for the next episode, it seems like Sutton is ready to get into it. You know what I mean? But yeah, in that moment, Sutton wasn't here for it. But like Garcelle and Kyle, both stirring the pot. They're like, come on, what did you say? What did you say? So yeah, I don't know. I think, and I could be wrong, maybe I am wrong. I think maybe Crystal, because Crystal made the point, I don't want you to argue over the words that I've chosen and not what was actually said by Sutton. Because if I say what I said, then you guys are gonna come and say, oh well, you used too strong of a word, it wasn't that deep, or it wasn't that serious. You know what I mean? And by Crystal saying that, I mean, I feel like, what like, listen, I think Sutton said messed up stuff. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I'll believe that. You don't need to tell me twice. But I don't think it was as extreme as Crystal was making it. But then at the end of the day, I mean, who am I to say it wasn't extreme, or wasn't this, or wasn't that? I don't know. I don't know. We gotta. Uh, I guess we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. So until I hear exactly what Sutton said, I'm gonna like kind of save my speculation or my opinion or whatever. But like I said, I'm not gonna be surprised if something comes out, and I'm not gonna be surprised if Kyle didn't catch certain things, or Kyle is taking up for Sutton. You know what I mean? But then low key, I also feel with Kyle. Kyle has her ways, but like, I also feel like if Sutton really did say something messed up, I do feel like Kyle would have called her out too a bit, right? If Kyle catched it. If Kyle didn't catch it, then fine. But I feel like if Kyle caught it, she would have said something, because Kyle's messy and she likes to stir the pot. So I just don't see there being material there and Kyle not using that material to stir up drama. You know what I mean? I don't know. I could be wrong with that. Moving on from that, speaking of Kyle again. So her and Kyle actually, not her and Kyle, her and Dorit arrive at Sutton's event. And there's press there, and Dorit kind of got upset, like, how come Sutton didn't tell me there was going to be press? And I get where Dorit is coming from. I mean, she just got robbed. It's all over the news. Everybody's talking about it. And she's still traumatized, understandably, by the experience. So it must be very, very difficult to then, when you're still dealing with everything, to then talk publicly or talk to the press about what's going on. And it's not like the press is always going to be kind of polite or respectful. They're going to be like all up in your business, right? And you don't want to have a breakdown or start crying, and because all the cameras are going to be zooming in on you, and da 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 da, and it will just be a big fat mess, right? So I get why Dorit was not here for the press. But I do think it's a little, her calling out Sutton. Okay, Sutton, let's just be real again. Sutton has been hella callous towards Dorit and her situation, for sure. But I just don't think this particular situation is an example of that. Like, Sutton is holding an event, for her shop. So it's kind of to be expected that there is going to be a red carpet. There's going to be some sort of press because she's promoting her business. I don't think that's her being inconsiderate to Dorit. Now, yes, in an ideal situation, would it be kind if Sutton was a bit more mindful of Dorit in her situation? Sure. But I don't think I don't think that specifically is an example of Sutton just being callous towards Dorit. I just feel like, I feel like Dorit was being a little bit, and it's understandable. She's kind of wrapped up in her thing. And so it is what it is on that. It is what it is. But I will say this, and I spoke on this in my last review when it comes to Kyle kind of like telling Dorit's story. So they showed a clip of Kyle talking to the press about Dorit's situation, and it's just something about the way Kyle speaks on Dorit's business that rubs me the wrong way, because it's not your story to tell. and I feel like you're making it your story. Like if they asked about Dorit and Kyle was just like, Dorit's strong and she's holding on and she's doing well. Just very simple, very basic, just one sentence and move on and be like, but it's not my place to talk about it, and then go on our business. That would be fine, because I understand the press asks you questions. It's your part of your job, right? You can't just always be like, no comment, no comment, no comment. I get that. But I don't know. I just feel like Kyle just does a little too much for me. That it's just rubbing me the wrong way. Now, I don't know the relationship between her and Dorit. If her and Dorit have conversations like, look, okay, the press is going to ask me questions. What would you like me to say? They very well may have had that conversation before Kyle went onto the red carpet, right? And Dorit was like, say this, or this is okay, or just say whatever comes to your heart. I don't mind. And if they've had that conversation, then I take everything I said back. But I don't know that yet. I guess we're going to find out during the reunion. But just from the information that I have currently, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, Kyle, like, just chill a little bit. It's not your story. It's not your story. Okay? Dooby 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 doo. Okay, and since we spoke about Dorit, we could just speak a little bit more about her. She ended up going to therapy. I forgot what the type of therapy is called. EMR. I want to say it's EMR, but don't quote me on that. Right. I'm really happy to see that Dorit is getting therapy. I want to say I've heard of EMR. I don't even know if it's called EMR. So I've heard of that type of therapy before, but I haven't really seen it in practice. So I'm actually kind of interested to see more therapy sessions with Dorit, and how that whole type of therapy kind of works. Like, I'm actually really interested in that. So, and I think it's like, by Dorit sharing her story and her going to therapy, I think it can help encourage a lot of other people that may be looking for different type of therapies beyond the traditional talk therapy. It's just showing other options out there. So I think this was a great scene. I also like to say that I really love her and PK. I love their relationship. I don't know. It feels, and you know how these reality shows can be, smoke and mirrors. So don't quote me on it. Don't take me too literal. But from what I see of them and their interaction, I feel like there's love there, and I do think they make a cute couple. So I'm happy that, and for the both of them, they're not going through it alone, that they have each other to lean on for support, So kudos to Dorit, and kudos to PK for being really supportive of Dorit as she is, going through what she's going through. Yeah, I think for the most part I covered everything in this episode. I think that is the end of it. It was yet again, and I'll say it again, I'm really so far enjoying this season of Beverly Hills. I'm like pleasantly surprised. I'm kind of actually shocked here, So, yeah. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I gotta bring this up. Erika Jayne. And I guess maybe a part of me kind of just wiped it from my memory, because I'm so kind of tired of talking about her and Tom. Because, okay, let's fast forward to when they're at Kyle's house in who knows where, right? And Garcelle being messy, but here is where I'm here for Garcelle. She kind of called out Erika and saying, like, last season, you didn't come off as very empathetic to the victims, right? And now Erika is saying, well, sorry. Yes, Garcelle said, like, you weren't very empathetic to the victims. And Erika's response, well, was like, well, we're not sure if they were their victims. We're not sure if they didn't get their money. They may have got their money. They're just trying to get some more. And I'm just gonna need Erica to shut up when it comes to this. Just don't. It's like you're being called out for not being empathetic, and your response is to say that the victims are lying. Do you kind of get why people are like saying you're not empathetic? Do you kind of get it? You kind of get why you're rubbing people the wrong way? Like, even if you feel that, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Let it be handled in the court of law. And this is the thing for me. Erica Jane wants to pick and choose, right? When it's convenient for her, why am I stumbling over my words like this? But yeah, when it's convenient for her, she can say, oh, legally, I can't talk about this. I can't talk about this. But when it is to kind of make herself look good or make herself look like the victim or whatever, then she has diarrhea of the mouth. So it's like you can't pick and choose. If you don't want to talk about the case or whatever, like, be consistent with it. You know what I mean? I feel like there is a way you could say it. Like, if the stories of the victims are true, like, they have my empathy, they have my sympathy, I feel bad. But we have to wait for this to play out. And if this turns out to be true, like, I would be absolutely devastated. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to kind of word it and phrase it where you're expressing your condolences or your empathy for them, but at the same time leaving room just in case, just in case there's some lies or inconsistencies or whatever it is. Or like, so you're not being like legally held accountable for something that you said. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm all over the place today, but you know what I'm trying to say, guys. Right? Like, I don't know. It's like, and there's just been so many examples of Erica, and I can't think right now of these examples because that's last season, and I don't want to go back there. But like, especially that reunion, there's been so much examples of Erica putting her foot in her mouth, right? And like just saying all sorts of cockamamie things. So clearly you have no problem speaking your mind. So I just don't understand why can't you just show a little bit of consideration for the position of what those victims are in and how you benefited from them potentially being kind of defrauded out of their money. Like, you were able to live this lavish lifestyle off of their backs partially. Like, doesn't that make you just feel at least a little bit icky? And like, you wouldn't be wrong for feeling a little bit icky. And it's like, why not express that just a little bit? It doesn't mean you're guilty for expressing that. Like, you can be 100% innocent, but still feel bad about the situation. Still feel like, oh my gosh, like my husband funded my lifestyle off of the backs of burn victims. Like, come on. Like, it's just... And I'm done. I've talked about this enough, so whatever. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, and comment down below. Okay? Please call me if you have anything to say. If you don't, you don't. It's okay. Anyways, that's everything, guys. See ya.